On October 10, 2025, a catastrophic explosion tore through the Accurate Energetic Systems facility in Humphreys County, Tennessee, sending shockwaves not just through the plant, but across the entire region. In a matter of seconds, what began as an ordinary day was transformed into a scene of chaos and confusion, as the force of the blast shattered windows miles away and sent a plume of smoke billowing into the sky. The explosion shattered the peace of a quiet Friday afternoon, disrupting the gentle rhythms of rural life. For many, the day had started like any other: children heading to school, neighbors chatting over fences, and workers clocking in for their shifts. The plant, a major local employer and a cornerstone of the community, instantly became the epicenter of a tragedy that would forever change the lives of everyone in Humphreys County. Families, friends, and co-workers were suddenly united by fear and uncertainty, desperate for news of their loved ones. The blast was sudden and devastating, leaving no time for workers to react and plunging families into a nightmare of uncertainty. The air was filled with sirens, shouts, and the acrid smell of smoke, as first responders raced against time to reach those trapped inside. Emergency services scrambled to respond as the shockwave rippled for miles, overwhelming local resources and drawing support from neighboring counties. Roads were quickly blocked off, and the area was flooded with flashing lights and urgent voices. News of the disaster spread rapidly, first through panicked calls and frantic messages, then across the nation as media outlets picked up the story. Within hours, the eyes of the country were fixed on this small Tennessee town. The facility, once a source of pride and prosperity, was reduced to a scene of profound loss. Its familiar silhouette was now twisted and broken, its role in the community forever altered by the tragedy. Humphreys County, known for its tranquility and close-knit spirit, was thrust into the national spotlight, its name now synonymous with tragedy and resilience. The world watched as the community came together in the face of unimaginable loss. The journey through this crisis had only just begun. As the dust settled, the people of Humphreys County faced the daunting task of healing, supporting one another, and rebuilding not just their homes, but the very fabric of their community. Authorities described the explosion as a mass detonation, a single, thunderous blast that obliterated a main production building in an instant, sending shockwaves through the entire county. The force of the explosion was so powerful that it shattered windows miles away and sent a plume of smoke billowing high into the sky, visible for miles in every direction. Where the building once stood, there was now only a deep, gaping crater, a stark reminder of the sheer force unleashed that day. The ground was torn apart, twisted metal and concrete scattered in all directions. The shockwave rattled homes up to 15 miles away, shaking foundations and knocking pictures from walls. Residents in neighboring towns felt a tremor so intense they thought it was an earthquake, rushing outside in confusion and fear, searching for answers in the chaos. Debris was hurled across a half-square mile, with twisted metal and shattered glass littering the landscape. Vehicles parked nearby were mangled beyond recognition, and the earth itself was scorched and barren, stripped of all vegetation by the searing heat of the blast. First responders arrived to utter chaos, facing a vanished building and unstable, hazardous wreckage. The air was thick with dust and smoke, making it difficult to breathe or see, and every step was fraught with danger from hidden fires and collapsing debris. Their frantic search for survivors was a race against time in a scene of unimaginable destruction. Emergency crews worked tirelessly, calling out for anyone trapped beneath the rubble, their voices echoing through the ruins as they sifted through the wreckage, hoping for a miracle. The psychological impact was immense. The sight of a mushroom cloud rising over the countryside and the deafening sound of the blast became seared into memory. For many, it was a moment they would never forget, a terrifying reminder of how quickly life can change. The explosion marked a brutal dividing line, life before and life after. In the aftermath, the community gathered together, united in shock and grief, struggling to comprehend the scale of the disaster that had struck so suddenly. The event was more than a loud noise. It was a profound rupture in the community's sense of safety. Streets that once bustled with life were now eerily quiet, as residents grappled with fear and uncertainty about what the future might hold. The world for Humphreys County would never be the same. The scars left by the explosion would linger for years, a constant reminder of the day everything changed in an instant. Sheriff Chris Davis described the aftermath as hell, a landscape of total destruction, thick with smoke and silence broken only by distant sirens. First responders from across the region worked through the night, extinguishing fires and searching for the missing amid twisted metal and rubble. Each step was fraught with danger, as the ground was unstable and every piece of debris could conceal tragedy. The emotional toll was heavy. Responders searched for friends and neighbors, not strangers. As hope for survivors faded, the mission shifted to recovery, requiring immense emotional fortitude. The site became sacred ground, a place where the community's worst fears were realized. The devastation was complete, and the pain was shared by all. 19 people were confirmed dead or missing, a staggering human cost that sent shockwaves through the community. These were not just names, they were parents, children, friends, and pillars of the town. The process of notifying families was heartbreaking, each call delivering the worst possible news. The victims were experienced workers, deeply woven into the fabric of local life. Their loss left a void felt by everyone, from family to neighbors to colleagues. The number 19 became a symbol of the tragedy, a stark reminder of lives cut short. The explosion shattered families and futures, leaving the community to carry a heavy burden. Now, the focus shifted from shock to the enduring pain of loss and the long road to healing. In Humphreys County, everyone knows everyone, a closeness that made the tragedy even more personal. Here, neighbors are more like extended family, and the bonds that tie the community together run deep. When disaster struck, it wasn't just a headline. It was a heartbreak that touched every household, every street, and every heart. The 19 lost were familiar faces, seen at local stores, schools, and community events. They were the people you'd wave to on your morning walk, the friendly faces behind the counter, the classmates and teachers who shaped childhood memories. Their absence left a void that echoed through the routines and rituals of daily life. Sheriff Chris Davis, like many, had personal ties to several affected families, blurring the line between public duty and private grief. He wasn't just an official. He was a neighbor, a friend, and sometimes even a relative to those he served. The weight of loss was felt not only in his role as sheriff, but in his heart as a member of this close-knit community. Families faced the impossible task of moving forward without loved ones, their absence felt in every corner of daily life. Empty chairs at dinner tables, silent rooms, and cherished photographs became daily reminders of what was lost. The pain was raw, and the process of healing seemed overwhelming. The entire town grieved together. Reminders of loss were everywhere. Vigils lit up the night, flowers marked the places where memories lingered, and the community gathered to share stories, tears, and moments of silence. Grief was not hidden. It was shared, openly and honestly. Local businesses closed, schools offered counseling, and sorrow touched every aspect of life. Teachers comforted students, shop owners mourned regular customers, and the rhythm of the town slowed as everyone tried to process the enormity of the loss. The disaster wove a thread of grief through the community, damaging its very fabric. Every gathering, every conversation was tinged with sadness, as people tried to make sense of what had happened and how to move forward. Yet, the town's unity became its strength, as neighbors supported each other through heartbreak. Volunteers stepped up, offering meals, comfort, and a listening ear. Acts of kindness, both big and small, became lifelines for those struggling to cope. The journey to healing would be long, but it would be walked together. Support groups formed, and people leaned on one another, finding hope in shared resilience and the promise that no one would face their pain alone. The pain was immense, but so was the resolve to endure. Through tears and determination, the people of Humphreys County showed that even in the darkest times, their spirit could not be broken. In this small town, loss was deeply personal, and so was the support. Together they began to rebuild, one day at a time, holding on to each other and the hope that brighter days would return. The search for answers began immediately, but officials warned the investigation would be long and complex. Multiple agencies, including the ATF and FBI, joined local authorities to sift through the wreckage for clues. The force of the blast destroyed much of the evidence, making the task painstaking and slow. Investigators reviewed safety protocols, maintenance records, and interviewed witnesses, though many with direct knowledge were lost. Sheriff Davis urged patience, emphasizing the need for a thorough, accurate investigation. For grieving families, the wait for answers was another layer of pain. Understanding the cause was crucial for closure and for preventing future tragedies. The community placed its trust in investigators, hoping for truth amid the devastation. Only with answers could healing truly begin. As shock faded, collective grief took hold in Humphreys County. Spontaneous memorials appeared, flowers at the plant, flags at half-staff, churches opening their doors. Vigils brought residents together, sharing tears and comfort under candlelight. The tragedy was felt everywhere, in hushed diners, somber conversations, and neighbors checking on each other. Grief became a shared experience, transcending differences and uniting the town. Soon, sorrow turned to support, donation drives, meals, and offers of help for the bereaved. The community instinctively mobilized, wrapping its arms around those in need. Mourning became action, as compassion and solidarity defined the response. Even in tragedy, the spirit of Humphreys County endured. In crisis, communities looked to their leaders. Humphreys County had Sheriff Chris Davis. He became the face of the response, balancing operational demands with deep personal grief. His emotional press briefings, marked by honesty and vulnerability, resonated with the community. Davis's authenticity built trust, showing leadership is about presence and empathy, not invincibility. Local officials coordinated recovery and investigation while coping with their own trauma. Their resilience provided stability and hope amid chaos. Sheriff Davis embodied both the heartbreak and the strength of his community. His leadership reminded everyone that behind every uniform is a human being. In their darkest days, the community found strength in shared humanity. Amid immense loss, glimmers of hope and resilience began to shine in Humphreys County. The tragedy revealed the community's unbreakable spirit, seen in countless acts of kindness and support. Neighbors cared for each other, businesses helped first responders, and donations poured in from across the nation. The bonds that defined the town became its greatest asset, forming a foundation for healing. Leaders and residents resolved to honor the lost by rebuilding and supporting one another. The pain of October 10th would never fully fade, but neither would the love and unity that emerged. In the face of heartbreak, Humphreys County showed the world the true meaning of community and hope.